when I chose to just surrender, stop thinking of how am I performing? Am I going to dirtify these sheets? How are we going to wipe this? You know, once you just let go and choose to be sensual and focus on how am I feeling, how is my voice?
The orgasm pursuit gap, because now it's gotten to pursuit, because it's the concept of he's not doing enough to help me orgasm. So I'm pursuing. I'm in pursuit of it. Just yesterday, I got a client who is 43 now, and she told me she's never orgasmed, and she's just been a conservative girl, but now she really doesn't want to get to the 50s or really end her life without having never known what an orgasm feels like. I'm like, wow. You know, I used to think nip was excitement. We can't stand like this. I am guilty. But welcome to the soft power method. We're going into power, pleasure, play, surrender. And we started with play. Interesting. So again, this is Doreen with you, and with me is Chela, the sensual goddess of the evening. The last week's episode, she chose to keep quiet because she was, like gathering her energy for this particular last one. The last one that we're sharing with you for the, the tears are happy tears for the for this project. So Chela promised us that she's going to teach us the art of surrender. She's going to teach us how as a recovering perfectionist, notice the sneaky ways in which perfectionism would have crept into the bedroom, and that's not the space that she wanted it to be in, because she proudly says that it may have sneaked into her other parts of life, work, but not in her relationships. And she was bewildered when I was talking about emasculation, and I can't blame her, because she doesn't know what that means. But now I'm not going to talk as much as she's going to talk. Chela has promised to guide you into the tender, gray part of feminine eroticism, how to reclaim our erotic intelligence, and how to get to that place of surrender. I keep saying that when a woman can orgasm, she's connected with her feminine aliveness, because the squatting orgasm, like when a woman can squat rather, because a squatting orgasm is what enlivens, it's like a river. It nourishes the areas around her. It's the water, the creative energy. It's the one that now turns her on, her creativity, her capacity to be able to nourish, and her capacity to be able to feel like she's a sensual being and a sexual being. Speaking of those things, they sound like they're things that we have owned. Apart from Chela and a few other women, there's those other women who are still stuck in the black. They think that the squatting orgasm is still a myth. So for this particular episode, as we round it off, we want to play with you, and we want to see how perfectionism is sneaking into the bedroom, how perfectionism is robbing us of the pleasure that we want to walk with into midlife. And I will begin there by saying that lately, because of perfectionism, I tell women that we need to even reframe sexuality in midlife. Because women are being put out of pasture. You get to 35, I think for some even 20, because there's no standards have been set for the woman, So we get to 35, midlife starts, and then, the conversation in society is now you're going to be dry, you're not supple. Women who are older are dry, they're not supple, they are disconnected from their sexuality, they have no libido, they don't have desire. My goodness. Yet, the rest of us are like, I don't think one man is enough for me, because what I'm feeling like is like a hurricane. Like it's supposed to be that we understand that in midlife is when our sexuality and sensuality is rebirthed, because it has purpose.
Yeah.
Right? And away from this one, I'm beginning another program next week with the women who are joining the Hormone Reset program. And we're going to be having conversations on how we can reframe our midlife. How we can reclaim our aliveness, our pleasure, our sensuality, our sexuality, and let them take us to the throne, the queendom, because it's in the second spring when women actually use the energy they used to use for reproduction. It's now turned into sexuality. Imagine.
Interesting.
So it becomes even more alive and it becomes more, but with perfection, it is a far-flung idea. They're like, what do you mean? For me, I lost it when I was just 28 or something like that.
Yes.
Anywho, welcome to Heal with Doreen. And on Heal with Doreen, we have been running a podcast series called The Soft Power Project. And the Soft Power Project is for the woman that is tired of striving, tired of performing, tired of, working for love, tired of doing it all and still not feeling like it's enough. She wants to sit in her enoughness. She wants to receive. She wants to surrender. She wants to enjoy the surrender, not panic through it, right? And so we are looking at the hidden cost of perfectionism and how it has snuck into the bedroom, how we can chase it away and reclaim the pleasure. And Chela is going to lead us into that one. Chela.
Drum roll.
From the beginning.
Yeah.
First of all, you look very sensual.
Thank you.
Brown look, but what doesn't look good on you, really? Red looks amazing on you. Brown is looking amazing on you.
Thank you.
Like you look amazing in everything. But for today, you look like you're ready to teach us the art of squatting, the art of surrender. Are you?
I will try my best.
You try your best. Because you said how our journey started was when I came for your sister's bridal shower.
Yeah.
And I talked about balancing hormones and squatting, and you got hooked. And as we speak, not even now, at some point, I remember coming to your friend's bridal shower, and you confidently sent her a message, told her of all things she's going to talk about. Make sure you listen keenly about squatting, right?
Yeah.
And then I remember we shared that clip on Instagram and somebody asked, where's the podcast to this? And I've not been sharing a lot about that because I also want, people to come to me and support me because, they're not sharing, they're not liking, they're not subscribing. Where are they, But for today, courtesy of you, we're going to delve into surrender, squatting. Because the ultimate way that a woman is in total surrender is when she can squat. Tell us, give us your journey to squatting.
Okay, so I think in the first podcast series that we did, like you've just mentioned, I joined the wellness community and sensuous women because of the word squatting. I was in that group that believed it's a myth. Maybe it's not a myth. There's a group that believes it's urine. It's not urine. So I was out to disprove
those
things.
Yeah.
Without knowing, actually, I was leading myself into something very beautiful called surrender.
Nice.
And being sensual. Because being sensual and sexual are two very different things. You can be with your partner having sex and all that, or even have different other people. That's being, and you can be sexual. Literally, that's the act. You're just a sexual person, right? But being sensual is being in your feeling. What are you feeling? How does it make you feel? How does he make you feel? That's being sensual, not being sexual. So that's what I was learning. That's what I was striving to learn. And that's how I literally joined the community. So I think it didn't happen immediately. I thought it would happen immediately. Like I said, 14 days. There's a smoothie with pineapples, cloves, okra, cayenne. If you remember, I actually reached out to you after a few weeks, said, why are you not sending this recipe? I need to start.
I actually remember that.
Do you remember?
There's some moments, like how they say core childhood memories. There's some things that I don't forget. I remember that time. And it was actually after 14 days. Yeah.
So that's how I started. Then at some point I gave up. Then I said, okay, let me listen. Every Thursday in the Sensual group, we had Thirsty Thursday.
Yeah.
Where ladies would come and share their challenges, what they would like to learn, just their sexual encounters, of course, in the closed-knit group.
Yeah.
So I would learn from these ladies and I'm like, okay, so what is this one doing? I would even inbox others. This thing worked for you, it's not worked for me. So they would tell me, just chill. Imagine, just stay out of your head, get out of your head. And true to it, when I got out of my head, I think the same day I texted you and told you, guess what has happened?
Walking on the street. You couldn't even wake.
I didn't get
to the office.
Yeah.
I even visualized how you were dressed. Because you're like, it happened. It happened. And I'm thinking, what happened?
Yeah. And when I looked back, I think it's when I chose to just surrender, stop thinking of how am I performing? Am I going to dirtify these sheets? How are we going to wipe this? Once you just let go and choose to be sensual and focus on how am I feeling, how is my voice? Am I giving feedback? Am I saying how I feel? Am I saying what, how this experience is? Literally just get in your feeling, get out of your head and surrender.
Okay.
And it's not the same. I think it's the most beautiful feeling. You can't compare it with a clitoral orgasm, a cervical orgasm. I think for me that's just the ultimate. It still is the ultimate.
It still is the ultimate
Yeah.
feeling. Wow. Thank you for sharing your experience. So you busted some myths that where the squirt comes from, what it looks like or tastes like, how it looks like on the sheets. Why are we overanalyzing an experience? Why are we calculating the mess? How did we become people that don't know how to sit in our mess? No wonder we struggle with failure. No wonder we struggle with suicidal thoughts. Because if we can't come in the messy middle, then we are people that are dysregulated.
Yeah.
Then the sexual reclamation, the orgasmic reclamation, the sensual medicine doesn't get to work for us. Because people want anecdotal, researched data of really, is this real? Because we are struggling to come away from what perfectionism taught us that sex is. Let me bring you to the orgasm gap, but mostly let me thank you for being vulnerable enough to share with us your experience and your vulnerability. And I'm very sure even as we continue talking, you will just be saying, actually did that. No, that doesn't work for me. This is what it is and all that. So for this podcast, let's look at perfectionism and how it prevents women from getting there.
Yeah.
To that place. You've mentioned a few things, like how to get out of your head. And I like the part where you say give feedback. Because now you're using your voice. You're communicating sensually. You're not using the voice, like now directing. You are using the voice by giving feedback. Then that means you're receiving. You're not
Performing.
You're not teaching. You're not performing.
Yeah.
But mostly you're not teaching. You're not leading.
Yeah.
Your desirability is not outsourced. It's coming from a bodily experience, and all you're doing is giving feedback. Because when you give feedback, you're saying, "Give me more of that."
Yeah.
But when you say, "I told you touch here," you're directing and you're being judgmental and you're emasculating in that moment. You're affecting somebody's creativity. So I like that bit. And then when you say that you use your breath, and all that. So there's the orgasm gap. The perfection trap talks about one of the roots of perfectionism being society. But without having to go back into what we've already discussed, how is society affecting our orgasm? how is society affecting our pleasure? Because you're thinking, I think society, I have closed it out, bedroom, sitting room, come to the kitchen, bedroom. How is society coming to my bedroom? It still sneaks in there through perfectionism.
Mm-hmm.
And by having created an orgasm gap. I talk about this one a lot on Heal with Doreen, but let me mention it again. So the orgasm gap, or the orgasm pursuit gap, because now it's gotten to pursuit, because it's the concept of he's not doing enough to help me orgasm. So I'm pursuing. I'm in pursuit of it. Just yesterday, I got a client who is 43 now, and she told me she's never orgasmed, and she's just been a conservative girl, but now she really doesn't want to get to the 50s or really end her life without having never known what an orgasm feels like. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, wow.
43.
Someone should be in jail. Whoever is responsible.
Didn't see that
No, they should be in jail. I mean, that's like...
How do you rob a woman of that? Right? Because when she says conservative, now she's playing compliancy to societal messages of what we shouldn't be, or what we need to be able to work towards for us to attain a simple thing as pleasure, right? So the orgasm gap is the disparity or the inequality in pleasure. So it's basically the pleasure gap. Inequality where in heterosexual relationships, man and woman, the concept that still men experience more orgasms, or at least they get
it's
to
almost
orgasm 70,
assured.
70% of the time more than women. That most women will like orgasm 40% of the time, and that's not fair. Just imagine 70 and 40. That's such a huge gap. It's not like he gets to orgasm 3 times a week, I orgasm 2 times. No, it's he gets to orgasm 5 times a week, I get to orgasm only once. Not me. Not me. But guess what? The orgasm gap is not biological.
Yeah.
It's culture, it's social, it's other. It's not biological, meaning every woman is capable of orgasming. So with this gap, we get to see what is the role of perfectionism in creating this gap. Right? I can give you a few cultural anecdotes, right? First of all, there's the feminine shame. Then we have the feminine shame is when our bodies, let me use this puberty, right? When I'm initiating girls into puberty, imagine as early as 9 years, the girls already hate their bodies, and they have already started coming up with ideas of changing their bodies. They hate their periods. They hate the fact that they're going to become mothers. Everything I talk about, they're like, ew. They hate their blood. And I ask their mothers, where did they
Where
get
is this coming from?
And we say society. That's why I say we need to name who this society is.
Because we are part of society.
We are part of society. Where are they hearing these things? But it's the way we carry our bodies. It's the simple things we say when we are detoxing. We take things and then we don't take anything with joy or with pleasure. They get the message. It's the way we look ourselves in the mirror and we start fixing something. They get the message. Tummy's bad. It's the way we walk a certain way and we try to change something. To be yourself is a bad thing. It's the way we don't like the mirror, or when we look into the mirror, we're trying to change something. That image is not good. Change it. There's subtle ways in which the woman has not been allowed to celebrate her feminine body. It's just been shamed from the beginning, right? And so we perform. So we perform for desirability. So we perform to look beautiful. And so we'll put it together. Man, if I'm a perfectionist, you have no idea. I'll even go for Botox. I will fix the boobs. You want the legs? I will fix the legs. You want height? Have they come up with that one? You think you want a bam bam? They call it what?
Nyash.
Nyash.
Yeah.
I was going to say another one. You want nyash? We shall add another one. You said you want which kind of tummy? I'll make it an hourglass.
There's everything to fix something.
About a woman needs to be fixed for her to be desirable, right? And then the whole concept of when we are teaching girls about modesty, sit a certain way, dress a certain way, don't attract the man, don't tempt the man actually. So the modest culture that protects men and makes women doubt or wonder what is about me that is not desirable.
That is not okay, yeah.
So I am the problem. So I'm the reason a man gets to fall. Imagine I made a man sin. Imagine by just being me, because now they tell us cover up to here. Your chest can't be seen, arms can't be seen, fingers can't be seen, hair can't be seen. Like literally. Because if a man sees, he's going to fall. So what message does that give you? My body is not a beautiful thing. Right? Then they tell you, you cannot feel. Desire is a bad thing. It's going to lead you to sin. So you learn that the sexual energy is bad. It's sin. It's the one that's going to lead me to.
But let me ask you, like for this 43-year-old, how are you going to coach her into bridging that gap?
Imagine we have to go back to that narrative. Not only her, there are so many women who we will talk about the other causes of the orgasm gap.
Yeah.
But now I'm looking at when the perfectionism, the performance started. Shrink, cover up, you're not good enough, you will stay in your head because what is this thing I was seeing? So if to feel sexual energy was seen from when you were 12, right? If you start feeling, because when I'm talking about sexuality to the young ones, I have to accept that there's an emotion, there's a feeling they're going to experience because hormones are rising in them, but point them towards how to sit with it in a way that edifies them, not makes them feel like their bodies must be sinful for having such an emotion that they did not create.
But what if it's not perfectionism for her? I'm just...
For the
lady, yeah. What if it's maybe
I'm getting you there. I'm getting you there.
Yeah.
Because now, if you're told that desire is bad, what are you going to start doing? You're going to start like swallowing it, shrinking. You're going to start, taking it in, right? And acting like you don't want that. So they will become tomboys. They will curtail their femininity. They want to dress a certain way. They want to be playful. They won't allow for color. So sensuality dies. They won't allow to feel. Because how do you feel? Because you have to feel in your body. But then when you felt, it was sin. So you start numbing everything that feels like
desire.
Like that. So you kill introspection. Okay. Introspection is a capacity to sense from the inside. Because those sensors are the ones you're talking about. That capacity to sense, to feel. Because to sense and to feel are very different things. Emotion and energy are very different things,
Yeah.
So now this woman started how to numb that, right? And she killed something about her. She killed her sensuality. So it doesn't come naturally for her. So sensuality, that means now she killed sense. She doesn't play with the senses, That one is, you will see them. They now turn from tomboys to, I call them gray, brown, white, like they wear bold colors. They don't play with colors. They don't play with hair. They don't play with makeup. They don't play with jewelry. They don't have time. They say they don't have time for that. Later when you find them.
Yeah.
I also remember a time when I actually had started hating dresses, flowers,
really?
Lavender. Yes. And I do not know where it came from. It was those things of you not look serious if you wear flowers or floral dresses. You will look weak because now everything feminine had been weekend, right? So now that woman has cut herself away from sensuality. But guess what now culture does? Because you're saying, how did culture do that to her? But you see the systematic way in which her body is shamed, because the religion is part of culture, right? The women who are guiding her into womanhood, God forbid, there's no guiding. So it's the same thing I say. So if a woman gets into her first initiation, supposed to be initiation into womanhood, and there's no celebration, her nervous system gets the point that this is not a good thing, right?
Yeah.
If she's not celebrated for getting into this womanhood phase, so she's not taught your body is beautiful, this is how you take care of it. Your body is divine, so she doesn't get to feel like it's a beautiful thing. She's not taught about her vagina, her clitoris, her vulva. Up to now, the lady yesterday was telling me, I've never even looked at my vagina. I know, you can't believe. It's true. People are struggling. There are sexless marriages. There are anorgasmic situations. For real, right? You know squatting. There are those who have not even known any orgasmic sensation in their bodies.
But let me throw a spanner in the works. What if it's the partner who doesn't know how to pleasure the woman?
So we will look at that, but now we're looking at perfectionism society because we want to undo that.
Yeah.
Because there's so many other causes for anorgasmia or relationships or people not having sex. Because yes, there's bad partners. Yes, there's poor communication. Yes, there's poor conflict resolution. There's so many other causes. Yeah, but I know one of the biggest is perfectionism.
Okay.
But how does it come about? Because the orgasm gap is more social culture than it is biological.
Okay.
So if the gap is there based on research and it's not biological, so where did it come from? And how can we untangle? How can we get to the Chela stage, right? We cannot get to the Chela stage because also Chela knows she has gone through the different stages. She has had to reconnect with her body, because a woman who is not taught that your body needs to be, like, your rhythm needs to be respected, that you have a hormonal rhythm, that you need to eat a certain way according to your cycle. You do that. Now you do it so naturally. But before it wasn't. Before it was, what do you mean? That's too much work. So menstrual phase, follicular phase, ovulatory phase, luteal phase, ovulation, cervical mucus, all those things you guys used to feel like that's too much work. But now it's more like music to you. But that's the music we're supposed to be orchestrated for when we hit puberty. In Uganda, like being Ugandan, that's what I get to see as a struggle here.
Yeah.
Because we were given that earlier, it sounds easier for us now in the 40s. And it has made it easier. Some lady asked me, Doreen, you mean to say there are painless periods at 43, right? But I can tell you, because I was initiated and there's a society that does not shame my sexuality, that means for me I can confidently say squatting shouldn't be a performance. I can confidently say that pleasure is not a performance. I can confidently say that I have not experienced period pain.
Yeah.
And I have mostly loved my period moment than hate it. So now my narrative here is to rewire period mourning, because that's what I found here in Kenya, right? So I know this sounds a bit boring, giving you the connection, but it's important. So there's the modest culture. Yeah. There's the feminine shame. There's the lack of knowledge about your sexual parts, bringing us to a lack of clitoral knowledge, right? So if we don't understand the clitoris, it's the only part of the vagina on the body that is made for pleasure. But we don't know that, So Chela has really tasked me, and she's not letting go. So how does society prevent a 43-year-old woman? I can see, like, you're bothered. Like, okay, fine, Doreen, there's a history and you can tell me so many things, but what do you mean? Like, how is that connected to you not being able to still have orgasms until 43, And the realities are very many. Would you believe that actually out of what, or like with the ways in which you allow, or your body is able to orgasm, imagine only 40% can be able to talk about enjoying orgasms through penetration.
Sounds absurd.
Before I'd be like, what do you mean? Like, how? I mean, we all have the same vaginas, because I can, but when women come out and they give you experiences, and for me it's the experience, the ways in which people talk at bridal showers, and I'm like, for real? Yeah. Like, for me, I orgasm once a week, for real. I orgasm maybe once a year. What? Like, I go into those shocks, but mostly for me it's not the shocks, it's the pain.
Yeah, it's the pain, actually.
The pain of how can I know as much pleasure and you don't know?
Exactly.
Like, I'm like, no, I want you to know what I know. We would rather share we would rather talk about how good it is, as opposed to, I think you're lying, you're pretending that you orgasm. That's why you get to even not talk about it. Because I find that the women who actually squat, who surrender, who experience multiple orgasms don't even talk about it, because majority,
they think it's normal.
Exactly. Yeah. They feel like others will feel like you're showing off.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? And so they don't even ask them. They don't teach. Because at bridal showers, you find a few who will say, for me, it's not a problem. But, hey, tell us your ways.
Teach us your ways.
Teach us your ways. And I'm like, No, this should be something for every woman. So
Yeah.
we bring that back by looking at the role of perfectionism and how it hijacks us from surrender. You know, how it hijacks us from sitting with a spark and creates urgency in our bodies that makes us go for the fireworks, not the spark. Because it takes strength, it takes the soft power to be able to sit with the spark. You know, because what if your body's yes is more than the climax? What if that moment when the body says, I want, is much more important than the climax? Right? But most perfectionists don't have that space. We've been talking about the pause, the space, the gray, because that's the place of surrender. That's where the squatting happens, right? So when we do not see how it started, you know, we're not able to know how to get away from it.
Yeah.
So perfectionism creates numbness. Now I'll go to the vagina, the numbness in the vagina. Because if we are constantly clenching, if we are constantly checking, we are telling the body you're not safe enough to receive.
To surrender.
To receive, to feel.
To receive first.
Yeah, because for the body to allow you to feel, it needs to feel like you're safe enough, it's safe enough to hold that intensity. You know, and so because remember the idea of if you feel sexual energy, then it's sin. So some women like quickly hijack it, right? Telling the body, no, we are not safe enough to sit with that intensity. So how do we bring safety back into the body?
Yeah.
How did you bring safety into your body?
For me, I used play.
You used play.
I used play.
Tell us more.
I think there are very many forms of play, but for me, the play that I used is in voice, actually.
Now, how you use your voice.
How I use my voice,
Like
and even
poems,
how he uses his voice. How did you get into squatting yourself? How did you first squat? Were you born with it? Are all Ugandans born squatting because of kombucha?
Yeah, I will surprise you.
Yeah.
I actually first learned how to squat through self-pleasure.
Okay.
The whole performance thing, I think next time we'll go deep into what performance is for men and for women, because performance made sex look like it's more of a penetrative thing. The climax became the end game, and then it didn't teach us so much about pleasure. Like most people who struggle with orgasming, they don't know how to sit in pleasure, right? So as part as well, the performance in my head was be this, be good, be good, be good, and I would not be able to squat. So away from judgment, it was easier for me to get into my body, connect with myself, and it became easier for me to squat through self-pleasure because then I'm not performing for anyone, you know. And then after that, now it became easy for me to use my voice, my breath, like ask for what I want,
feedback.
to lead, to be able to. I even remember when I discovered that my nipples orgasm, and my partner would want to make them just as part of foreplay. I would guide so I can have more, as opposed to instructing. I would say, I like how you touched my nipples yesterday. Oh my goodness, I just was feeling this pleasure and I didn't want to orgasm. I want more of that, right? You know, so it was through self-pleasure. But also I discovered that how I go into my body through play is when I massage.
Or when you go for a massage?
When I give him a massage.
Or when you give a massage?
Like when I give him a massage, there's a way in which I become more playful. Like all the doubts, all the ways in which I feel heavy, I become lighter, you know. So by the time I even turn him over, I feel so light, I feel surrendered already, I'm already very wet, you know. So the experience of giving a massage in itself is a turn on for me, but I noticed it gets me out of my performance
zone,
and puts me into my pleasure state, you know. So for me, those are my go-to. If you really struggle with surrendering, if you struggle with squatting, you can start with self-connection. You can also find ways in which rather playing or being playful in the bedroom, you know, you find ways in which you get out of your head. So you can dance together, you can, you know, say some words to each other, whatever play looks like for you. But mostly anything that makes you get into your body will almost always help you to squat. But if you want to learn more about becoming clitor or becoming clitorate, learning how to, like learning what I learned from my culture called Kachavali, you can always sign up for the Desire series, and then I'll get you there. I'll teach you how to get out of your head, how to de-armor your body, to de-armor your vagina, create more sensation in the vagina again. I'll be able to teach you how to understand the full orgasmic body, get back into your sensuality and sexuality, so that now squatting is not a performance. It's just something that you do. It's who you are. And why? It's not like it's an end game, but really it allows you to sit with pleasure.
Yeah.
It means you have allowed yourself to surrender. You've allowed yourself to let go of control. Because squatting won't happen as long as you're still in your head. You have to be able to get into your body, so that the sensuality can heal you. So between me and you, I'd like to know that you go away saying that when you reclaim your sensuality, it becomes medicine for you. And then your orgasms become more of a reclamation. When you heal from perfectionism, you're reclaiming your sensuality, your sexuality, the very energies for your feminine energy, the ones that awaken your femininity, the ones that awaken magnetism, the healer in you, and all that. So I want to leave you with that. I hope you can learn, or you can allow yourself to let go performance and learn to receive and to surrender. Chela, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Without your company, I don't think I would have been as much as I have been. May we do more of this, and may we be the society that changes the narrative.
Yeah.
What's your parting shot, Chela?
My parting shot would have to be, my erotism is my pulse.
Hey.
And it's not a performance.
Hey, give me 5.
It's not a performance.
It's a what?
It's a pulse. Yeah.
I can't add anything there.
It's a pulse.
My eroticism is a pulse.
Yeah.
It's not a performance. Thank you so much. This is
Thank
Heal
you.
with Doreen, and this is a Soft Power Project.